as the host of Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, a national show on Blaze TV, and as host of Come and Take It, a Texas-focused podcast powered by Texas Scorecard, where she fearlessly defends the Constitution, holds Big Pharma accountable, and advocates for informed consent. But beyond her media work, Sara has been on the front lines with TFEC since day one. That's right. Block walking, poll greeting, and calling out our candidates who dismiss our families. She's a dedicated wife, a mom of 2 young boys, and also my dear friend. So hang on to your hats because I'm pretty sure we're getting her extra unfiltered today, Sara Gonzales.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. Okay, before I start speaking, I noticed that some of you guys have signs, and I really want you to, you're not able to hold up your sign. Can you please hold up your signs? I want to see them. Parents call the shots. Ma has a mandate. That's amazing. I see oh, that's beautiful. Prioritize vaccine choice. Texans call the shots. Thank you. I just wanted to see that because you guys worked on them. A picture. That's beautiful. I'm so sorry. And that story actually is why I'm here today and I fight so hard for vaccine choice because, as we stand here today celebrating 10 years of fighting for medical freedom, which is just incredible, a decade, guys, a decade of hard work because of these women right here and all of you in the room. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. I see so many OGs in the room right now, so many who were here from day one when we stood up to Texas politicians, namely Jason Villalba. Can I get a boo, please? The rule here is that anytime anyone says the name Jason Villalba, you boo, okay? So we stood up to Jason Villalba and any other politician, thank you, who said, oh, we want to mandate injections. Mandate injections on my kid, not on my watch, not on your watch. And you guys did that. And so I am one of you. I am you guys. I block walked with these women in the rain and the snow and all sorts of weather. And I started out, it just was about my family and my children, naturally, right? I was asked, I had my first baby. I was asking doctors questions about what they were injecting into them and why are there 8 at once? And just basic questions that are very reasonable for a parent to be asking. And the non-answers that I got made me very suspicious. Why can't you answer this question? What are the potential side effects? What do you mean there are none? Even Tylenol has potential side effects. So you can't possibly tell me 8 injections in one day yields absolutely no side effects. It's preposterous. So I started doing my own research and I started getting involved. And one of the days that I was working with Texans for Vaccine Choice, actually I believe it was a weekend conference at an autism summit. Mm-hmm. And the stories that I heard at this summit, stories much like your story, ma'am.
I also teach special education, so I'm...
Yeah, people who have stories just like that. People whose children are no longer here because of vaccine injury. People whose children are forever disabled, will never live the same life because of vaccine injury. And it became about so much more than my family at that point. It became a mission of mine. My family, they're fine, okay? But it became my mission to make sure that every single child, every single family that I know has the information and they have informed consent before they make the decision. And that's all that we're asking. You can make your own decision, but you should at least know the risks. You should at least know the potential side effects. As a parent, you have the right to that information. And so it became about all of you. It's not about me anymore. It's about how many children can we save before something happens that you can't go back in time and change. And so, the reality is, I love that we're talking about RFK. The reality is we have come so far on this issue. We've come so far. I think that we've come so far because you have to have darkness to shine a light brightly, right? There has to be darkness so you can see the light. And I think you guys would all agree with me that COVID was that darkness. COVID was the tipping point. COVID was our rock bottom moment, and it infuriates me to this day. To this day. 5 years ago, it still infuriates me like I'm living back in 2020, 2021, 2022, when people died who didn't have to because they prevented all of you from any sort of early treatment protocol. They didn't have to do that. They did it so they could rush an experimental jab and then later force you to take it. That's why they did that. It didn't have to be that way. It didn't matter that it could leave you dead. It didn't matter that it could leave you permanently disabled. It didn't matter that you could come down with myocarditis afterwards. It didn't matter because the companies manufacturing the injections were totally shielded from liability, and they made billions while people were permanently changed. So the tyranny, the mandates, the arbitrary rules, the idea that, remember, this is one of my favorite ones, the idea that you could go to a restaurant, you gotta wear a mask, standing, you gotta wear a mask because you could transmit something, sitting, you don't transmit it anymore. It's fine, you're not a threat, you can take off the mask, it's totally fine, right? Nothing made sense, but don't worry, it's just science. Trust the experts. It's really science-y, I'm sure. And so that darkness, I think, as grim as it was in the time, it was the wake-up call that our country needed. And looking back, I don't know if all of you are religious, I am. Looking back, I'm like, God had this planned. He had it planned perfectly. He knew what he was doing. And so this darkness might be why some of you in the room are here today. And for that, I just want to say I'm so grateful. I am so grateful that you're here. Because the darkness led to an awakening that has resulted in, I know you guys already said it, but I'm going to say it too, the new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I still can't believe it. I can't believe it. And I know you guys have said this. If anyone would have asked me 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if that could be possible, there's just absolutely no way. I would have said, you're crazy. You are absolutely crazy that a pioneer in the topic of vaccine choice, vaccine safety, children's health, would be heading up every single health department in the federal government. That is so unbelievable. And here we are. It's happening. And I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that we are poised right now to make our children healthy again. RFK talks about it all the time. Something is very wrong in this country. Our children are very sick. Our children have higher rates of neurodevelopmental disorders, have higher rates of autism, have higher rates of allergies, have higher rates of ADHD. And I don't care whether it's the food or the vaccines or the fluoride, we're gonna fix it. We're gonna fix it for them. We are poised to bring true informed consent back to parents. No more hiding side effects, no more conflict of interest, no more shielding multi-billion-dollar companies from any sort of liability when their products are harming your children. No more shortcuts in the safety studies. No more, well, it's sort of a placebo, but not really. Just trust us. No more. We have said enough. And so it is a really, really exciting time in our country. I'm not gonna lie, I did shed some tears whenever RFK was sworn in. Anytime he gives a speech, I get emotional just thinking about it because we are really, really at an exciting time in our country. And yet, there is so much work that remains here in the state of Texas. You've heard the legislators come out and talk about all the work that still remains. Big government, I feel like, has conditioned, even Texans, even here in the state of Texas, they've conditioned you to be appreciative of, exemptions. Wow, thank you, Big Daddy government, that I have to go request a form from the health department of Texas, have them mail it to me so I can go drive over to a notary, have them notarize my form, and then I have to turn it in to the school. How many check marks of that is someone else making you do something, you being accountable to someone else for a choice that is solely and completely yours as the parent of your child? It should be the complete other way around. You should not tell me I need to report to you whether or not I choose to inject my child with something.
Yes.
It's crazy to me. And so that has to change. What else has to change is the immunization registry. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure most of you are parents in here. You know, you have a baby in a hospital, and one of the first things they do is bring this form in front of you, M-Track. Go ahead and sign up. Don't worry, it's just for your convenience. It's just for your convenience. We're just gonna hound you relentlessly when we see that you haven't gone to your doctor to get your updated vaccines. It's just for your convenience. You know, you have to opt out of that rather than opt in. And you're lucky if you get a nurse who explains that to you. It shouldn't be that way in the state of Texas. You should not have to opt out of any sort of registry that tracks what you put in your body. Because as some of those have said who have come up here before me, if you don't have freedom as to what you inject yourself with, that is the most basic of freedoms. That is bodily autonomy. If you don't have bodily autonomy, you have nothing. You can kiss your freedoms goodbye. You have absolutely nothing. And so, if there's one thing that I would say to all of the legislators who are in the building, maybe they've stepped out, but we're gonna say it to them anyway. We're not done. We will not stop. We call the shots. And I want every politician in Texas to be on notice. Hear me loud and clear. Hell hath no fury like a scorned mama bear. So get ready. The fight is not over. God bless all of you. God bless your families. And hey, one more thing. Come and make us. Thank you.